Hello and welcome back to Pulsecast USA. I'm your host, Alina, and today we're diving deep into one of the most important questions of our time. Why can China and the United States never truly be friends? These two superpowers shape global politics, world markets, technology, and even the future of war. Their competition affects every country on Earth, including yours. But here's the truth most people don't realize. America and China don't just disagree on policies, they disagree on how the world should work. So, grab your coffee, sit back, and let's explore the history, the power struggles, the secrets, and the global chess game that make US-China friendship almost impossible. To understand the rivalry, you have to start with something deeper than trade wars or military tension. You have to look at ideology. The United States believes in an open world, free markets, free speech, open internet, democratic governments, individual rights. China, on the other hand, is built on state control, one-party rule, strict internet censorship, national surveillance, and collective identity over individual freedoms. This isn't a small difference. It's like two people trying to build a house. One wants all the windows open, and the other wants them tightly shut. These ideologies can coexist, but they will never blend. And that is the foundation of all conflict between the two nations. After World War II, the United States was the undisputed global leader. But now there's a challenger, China, growing faster, producing more, and asserting itself worldwide. Today, the US and China compete in military dominance, artificial intelligence, space exploration, global infrastructure, semiconductor chips, energy control, and influence over developing nations. For the first time in decades, the US isn't facing a small rival. It's facing a country with a population 4 times larger, a manufacturing base the world relies on, and an ambition to reshape global power structures. This isn't cooperation, this is a race, and races create rivals, not friends. In the past, countries competed for oil and land. Today, they compete for data and technology. China's tech giants, Huawei, TikTok, and Alibaba, aren't just companies. They're part of China's national strategy. The US fears Chinese tech for 3 reasons: data security, espionage concerns, and technological dependence. That's why America banned Huawei from 5G networks, why TikTok is constantly under investigation, and why the US is investing billions in its own semiconductor production. This generation's war isn't fought with tanks, it's fought with algorithms. If there is one place where the US and China could accidentally start a real war, it's the South China Sea. China claims nearly the entire sea, drawing what's known as the 9-dash line. But here's the problem. International law says most of that area does not belong to China. So what did China do? They built artificial islands, militarized them, and placed missiles and airstrips on them. The US responds by sending warships to challenge China's claims. 2 superpowers, armed forces, ships sailing dangerously close. One miscalculation, one wrong signal, and the world could face its biggest military crisis since the Cold War. Taiwan is the most sensitive issue in US-China relations. China says Taiwan is part of its territory. America says Taiwan should remain independent. China vows reunification, even using force. The US vows to help Taiwan defend itself. This is not a small disagreement. This is an unresolvable conflict. If China invades Taiwan, the United States will almost certainly intervene. If the US defends Taiwan, China will treat it as a direct act of war. This is the number one reason the two can't be friends. Their red lines overlap. A move by one threatens the survival of the other. Here's something ironic. The US and China are economically married, but emotionally divorced. America buys everything from China: phones, computers, electronics, clothing. China relies on American consumers to keep its economy strong, but underneath the partnership, there is deep suspicion. The US believes China steals intellectual property. China believes the US tries to slow down its rise. Both depend on each other, but neither trusts the other. This is not a friendship, it's a reluctant business deal. China is building roads, ports, and power plants across Africa and Asia under the Belt and Road Initiative. The US sees this as China trying to spread political influence. Meanwhile, America builds alliances, signs defense agreements, and supports democratic countries. This creates competition over developing nations. Who gets their loyalty? Who gets their markets? Who becomes their long-term partner? It's a chessboard, and both players want to control the center. Even culturally, the two nations see the world differently. America embraces individualism. China embraces collectivism. Americans value personal freedom. China values social stability. Both nations believe their system is superior, and neither is willing to change. This creates something deeper than rivalry. It creates mutual incomprehension. Friendship requires trust. Friendship requires shared values. Friendship requires common goals. The US and China do not share any of these. They can cooperate, they can trade, they can negotiate, but at their core, they are two giants walking in opposite directions. One leading a world of open democracy, the other leading a world of centralized control. So, can China and the US ever be friends? Maybe they can avoid war. Maybe they can work together when it benefits both sides. But true friendship? No. Their systems are too different. Their goals are too competitive. Their futures are too connected to global dominance. But the world is watching because their rivalry will shape the next century. Thank you for watching Pulsecast USA. I'm Alina, and I'll see you in our next deep dive episode. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.